Hello and welcome back to Thai Food. I'm Ty. Today my co-host is Shiloh. We're doing the second half of the grilled chicken Alfredo. You can see right here I got my grilled chicken. I went ahead and grilled it off. We got that sitting there ready for the Alfredo sauce. So for the Alfredo, I'm going to start with what's traditionally known as a French bechamel. I probably didn't say that right. I'm sure Chet will comment later on that, but basically the bechamel is a fancy term for a milk gravy. I'm going to start off with a roux. I'm going to add a half a stick of butter here to it. I got this skillet nice and heated up here to start melting the butter down. And to the butter I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil. This is my roasted garlic avocado oil combo. I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon in here while this butter is melting down. Turn this up a little more. I was concerned it might have been too hot, so I turned it down. Guess that was a bad move, but it happens. Alright, we're going to get this in here, get it melting. I've already got a pound of pasta back here going on the water in some boiling water that I salted. And I got about 5 more minutes on that. According to the box it says al dente perfection in 10 minutes. I like the Barilla brand. You can use whatever brand you want. It's all preference. Barilla pasta has been good to me. Made a lot of money working in their factory, maintaining their equipment. So, since they're good to me, I'm good to them. I'll buy their pasta. I like it better too. Tastes better to me. Alright, now that I've pretty much got this melted, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of flour. Thank you, kiddo. And this is how we make our roux. It's just basically some fat and flour. And you want to get this all mixed together. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my roasted garlic, which I got right here. I got a half a tablespoon of roasted garlic I'm going to add to this. Now you want to cook this long enough that the flour taste cooks out of the flour, because you don't want that coming through later on in the sauce when you make it. And the roasted garlic, that has a little bit of the garlic olive oil in there, so this will help infuse some garlic flavor into your sauce as you make it. You want to make sure it's not chunky and all that. Mix this really good in here. I'm going to go ahead and add some pepper here. I don't want to add too much. Just a little bit for a background flavor, you know. I can actually smell the pepper coming up out from in there. And that's actually a peppercorn medley. It's multi-colored peppercorns. They're all different colors, and they each have their own flavor that they impart in this. And I think I got this cooked pretty good. So to this we're going to add 1.5 cups of half and half. Now I know I got exactly 1.5 cups left in this because I used a half a cup when I made the sausage balls in another episode. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in here. And you want to keep this moving so it doesn't stick to you and curdle and all that fun stuff. And now we got a half a cup of sour cream. This is just going to add a little bit of twang into it. Again, you know, just a little different flavor that you wouldn't normally have. You can opt to leave this out. It's totally your choice. If you decide you don't want to try it with it in there, but you know, we like our sour cream in this household, so I'm putting it in. And get this all mixed together here. Probably turn this down just a touch now. I don't want it getting too hot on me too quick. Go ahead and move this off to the side. So next, we want to add our seasonings at this point, which I've got laid out here. I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of my black gold. I'm sure they can see them, kiddo. You don't have to pick them up. Do a 1/4 teaspoon of black gold here. And get that mixed in. We definitely got this warm enough. I got a minute left on my pasta. I can hear it now. I'm going to do half a tablespoon of oregano here. Again, too much oregano will tend to overpower the dish. Basil's not as strong, so we're going to do 2 half tablespoons of that. If I misspoke and said tablespoon on the oregano, I'm sorry. It was a half a tablespoon, also known as 1.5 teaspoons. And then we got some granulated garlic. I'm going to add half a tablespoon of that. There we are. Some smoked sea salt and a little crack, or a little grinder. Just want a little bit of that. Looks like this calmed down for temperature wise for me. That's a good thing. And you can see this is thickened up nicely. And that's telling me my pasta is ready. So I'm going to kick this off real quick, let the heat do its thing, and pull the pasta, because I don't want to overcook my pasta here. I want to try to incorporate as much pasta water as I can with this, because that's going to help the Alfredo stick to the pasta. It's got that starchy goodness of the water in it. And it'll help thin out a thick Alfredo sauce as well, which I may just need at this point, because it looks a little thick for me. By the time you add the cheese, it's going to get a little thicker. So that's not a bad thing. I can thin it out with as much pasta water as I want here. So I'll just kick that annoying timer off now. And now, I don't want to reuse that one, so I'm just going to grab a different one here. Forgot to do this before I did the black gold, but I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika in there. Go ahead and kick this back on now. Get this moving again. You can see how it thickened up really nice here. And that's kind of what you're looking for. That's a little thicker than a bechamel though. It's, a little bit past the gravy stage, but that's okay. We want a nice, thick, flavorful Alfredo, because like I said, I can thin it down. And to this, I'm going to add the cheese. I've got 2 cups Parmesan and Romano. That should be more than enough to get this flavorful. We're just going to mix this in here. Start getting it melted. It's coming along nicely. I can smell the cheese really good. Alright, now I'm going to grab some of that pasta water. And get a cup here. Got almost a cup of it right here. Not your traditional liquid measure style, but it'll work. Gently mix this in, thin this out a little bit. Pasta water, again, add some of that starchiness in there that is going to help this stick to the pasta. And again, you may have a different version of Alfredo sauce that you prefer, but this is how I like to make it. So, to each their own. Everybody's got a difference of opinion. I'm going to go ahead and add the pasta in here and cook this off with it. Finish cooking the pasta in the Alfredo, let it soak this up. Think you could give me another cup of pasta water, kiddo? Here, hold it over the bowl, make it a little safer for you. You can see this is really nice and cheesy as I mix this. Yeah, go ahead and add that in. That's good. That's about a half a cup of water. So that'll help loosen this up a little bit more too, because as this pasta cooks, it's going to soak up some of this liquid anyways. It'll be a nice thick coated Alfredo. Thank you, kiddo. You can set it right in there for me. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm just going to cook this another couple minutes. I've got some broccoli on the stove behind me that's just kind of sitting there holding temperature that I cooked up earlier. I'm going to add that to plate because some of the family members really aren't a big fan of broccoli, so I don't try to force it on them if they don't want it. And I pretty much just got this at a simmer temperature at the moment, just trying to cook it through. And it looks like I could use another half cup of water, Shiloh. If you could grab that for me, please. Usually I'd be right at the stove, right next to the water, so I could do it myself. Thank you, kiddo. But I figured this works a little bit better for the viewers, so they can actually see my handiwork and see what it looks like. And at this point I'm going to go ahead and cut off the temperature on this and just let the residual heat finish doing its thing. And this is definitely nice and creamy, as you can see. Got a nice texture to it, looks velvety. I didn't brown it too much with the high temperatures that I had. That's another thing, when you're cooking you got to pay attention. You'll notice if it's too hot and you can adjust the temperature. Another reason I'm liking this over my stove, which is about to get replaced, because that thing is like a woman. It's all over with its temperament. You never know what you're going to get. If you could only see my wife's face right now. But there we have it. There's the pasta and Alfredo. I'm going to pause the video here and I'll show you what it looks like when I slice up the chicken. Okay, thanks for holding tight. You don't know I left very long, but I just cleaned up a little bit and made some room so I can slice the chicken here for you and get a plate going so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and give this some slices here. However you cut it, totally your choice. Chicken breast is nice and tender, and if cooked properly, it's juicy as well. Now, if you undercooked it, you can always take and add it in with the pasta after you chunk it up. Totally your choice. I prefer to cook it straight through. We'll just put some slices on the plate like so. I'm going to go ahead and add some broccoli with this. Adds a nice color to it. You can see it's nice and piping hot still. There we are. And now the piece de resistance. Probably said that wrong too, but I don't care. The Alfredo and the pasta. And there we have it. Grilled chicken Alfredo with broccoli.